Okay, hello everyone. This is Saket from Team Let's Learn, and here with me is Rakshit. Today we are going to have Q&A session uh, uh, for an Anglo testimonial. I have a set of 30 questions. Before I think you must have watched the session of GANs with GAN Bro and Avitos. So this is just next another session. Hope this will be helpful for upcoming aspirants. Okay, then we'll start our session uh, with uh, with some sort of questions that I have. Okay, then okay, Rakshit, tell me the first question is you for you is uh, how do we come to know VCRS system have moisture in it?
So basically, the system gives us some indication regarding if moisture is present in it or not. First indication being frosting on the evaporator coil, which is a clear indicator that moisture is present in it, because whatever moisture is present in it has much higher freezing point when compared to the refrigerant, so frosting might happen. Another reason is that there might be a hindrance in heat exchange procedure, because whatever moisture is there, it will play or it will manipulate the refrigerant properties. So there will be a decrease in refrigeration capacity. So there are some other methods also. Basically, we can use a side glass, we can use a filter paper. So side glass is basically a device which we use to detect moisture in the refrigeration system. So if it detects any moisture present in the refrigeration line, it will change its color. The second is the filter paper, which has chemical salt in it. If it is a dry refrigerant, it will turn it into yellow color. If it is a wet refrigerant, it will turn into pink color. So this is how we basically detect moisture in refrigeration system.
Okay, 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 that was good answer. Let's move to second question. Second question is that why freezing takes place in evaporator coil?
So the freezing mainly takes place in our operator coil because of lack of airflow. That is one of the main reasons it is happening everywhere. So the main procedure here is because of lack of airflow. The refrigerant that is there, it is unable to take a lot of heat from the air, because of which evaporator coil gets very cold. So whatever condensate is there, it will start forming frosting, basically an icicle formation. So this is how freezing is formed.
Okay, okay, we'll move to third question. Uh, what are the parts of diesel engine?
Okay, the parts of the diesel engine mainly involves first is the cylinder head, then we have the head gasket, then we have cylinder block, we have piston rings, connecting rod, gudgeon pin on the smaller side, crank pin on the bigger side, we have crankshaft, we have flywheel, we have camshaft, we have cam follower, we have push rod, we have rocker arm, we have wall springs, we have inlet and exhaust valve, and spark plug if it is a petrol engine, or a fuel injector if it's a diesel engine.
Okay, let's move to fourth question, and it is what is piston rings and its functions?
So piston rings is a ring which we are fitting through the groove of the piston. The main function involves basically first is to maintain a seal between the combustion area of the piston and the crankcase region, so as to none of this combustion gas gets leaked into that space. Next is to maintain a proper heat conduction from the piston to the piston ring and the cylinder jacket. And the third and the last function of it is to maintain a thin oil film layer, so we can reduce the metal to metal contact. And also it helps in further corrosion prevention also.
Okay, that's good. Okay, we'll move to our fifth question is VCRS components.
Okay. The VCRS components first of all mainly involves the compressor, then we have the condenser, we have dryer, we have thermostatic expansion valve, we have evaporator, then the sensing bulb, which has capillary tube between sensing bulb and thermostatic expansion valve.
Okay, tell me about what are the boiler mountings and working of fusible plug.
Okay, boiler mountings are as follows. First of all, we have the C-check valve, then we have the gauge glass, we have the safety valve, we have the blow down valve, we we have the scum valve, we have pressure gauges, we have air vent cock, we have steam stop valve, we have low water level indicator, and the fusible plug itself. We can either use low water level indicator or fusible plug. So the working of fusible plug is mainly to make sure that the water level inside the boiler does not come below a safe limit. So if it comes in below a safe limit, this fusible plug which is fitted inside the boiler will be directly in contact with the steam that is present. As we know, steam has much higher temperature than the water. Basically, this fusible plug will be mostly submerged inside the water. Only when the water level falls below the safe limit, it will be exposed to the steam. Now, because the steam temperature is such high, the fusible metal that is present, mostly tin and lead alloy, it will start melting and form a passageway for the water to flow inside. This fusible plug is usually maintained at the crown of the furnace or the combustion area. So, since water is allowed to pass through it, entire combustion process is stopped. So, boiler will stop overheating. So, it is to maintain or to make sure that the boiler shells or the tubes are not overheating. So, that's the answer.
Okay, that's good. Moving to the next question. What type of refrigerant are currently used on board
So,
ship?
if you are asking about ship, the current refrigerant that we are using is R134A, that is tetrafluoroethane. They are also using R404A and R407A also.
Okay. Next is parts of centrifugal pump.
So the parts of centrifugal pump involves first of all is the foot valve slash strainer. Then we have the suction pipe. Then we have a volute casing with increasing volume towards the discharge side. We have a backward curve impeller. We have a discharge pipe and a discharge valve. Then we have motor. Then we have couplings. Then bearings. So this is the parts of centrifugal pump.
Okay. Then can you tell the function and the working of alternator?
So the alternator is a device which we use to convert mechanical energy into electrical energy. The main construction involves a rotor and a stator. This rotor is connected to a prime mover, which is basically in the ship a four-stroke diesel engine. Uh, the crankshaft of which is connected to the rotor. So to induce a magnetic field in the rotor, we are adding a DC exciter to it so that a magnetic field in rotor is possible. So this rotor now has a magnetic field and is rotating. So this magnetic field cuts the stator, which induces the EMF in there according to Faraday's law of induction, which states that whenever there is a relative motion between a closed circuit and a magnetic field, the EMF is induced. The EMF that is induced in the stator is a AC type, which if we want to store in battery, we can further rectify into DC. And some part of this AC is also rectified so that we can use it further for the DC exciter. So this is the working of alternator.
Okay. Can you tell about different NDT methods?
Okay, the different NDT method basically involves first is the manual inspection, where we use our sight and feel of touch to know if any imperfections is there. Next, we have magnetic particle testing. Then we have ultrasonic testing. Then we have dye penetrance testing, and then radiography testing.
Okay. Then after classification of pumps, what are
Okay,
class?
the classification of pumps mainly involves first is the rotordynamic type. Then we have the positive displacement type. In rotordynamic pump, we have the centrifugal type and the axial type. In positive displacement, we have rotary type and reciprocating type. In reciprocating, we have diaphragm and piston. Piston is single acting or double acting. In rotary, we have gear or screw pump.
Okay. Uh, then after, tell me about parts of VCRS cycle.
I think that is already been told. We can move to Archimedes principle.
Okay. Then Archimedes. What is Archimedes principle?
So Archimedes principle states that whenever a body is fully or partially immersed in a fluid, it will experience a upward buoyant force which is equal to the weight of the fluid that it displaces.
Okay. Tell me about Bernoullis theorem and its applications.
So theorem, what it basically states that whenever a fluid is incompressible, steady and moving in a straight line, if velocity of the fluid is increasing, the pressure will decrease. Basically, what he means that the entire energy within the system is constant. That is, potential energy, kinetic energy, and pressure energy is constant. So the main application I can tell about is the airplane wing, which has a airfoil design, but that means a bulge on the top and a flat on the bottom. So in the bottom side, the air velocity is much lower, whereas on the topper side, the air velocity is much higher because it has to cover more amount of length in same time. So since more velocity is there will be more kinetic energy at the top, less kinetic energy in the bottom. Hence, we'll have low pressure at the top and high pressure at the bottom. As we know, air moves from higher pressure region to lower pressure region. Hence, we'll get a lift in the wing of the aircraft. So that is the application of Bernoullis theorem.
Okay. Tell me about components of three-phase induction motor.
Okay, the components of three-phase induction motor involves a stator with three windings at 120 degrees to each other. Then we have a rotor, in which is the one that is actually rotating. Stator is the one that is stationary. These are the components of three-phase induction motor.
Okay. Moving to the next. Valve timing diagram of four-stroke engine.
Okay, that we know already. First again, we know all time number. I think we can
Okay.
skip that.
Okay. Then function of rocker arm, camshaft, flywheel governor.
Okay, first we'll move on to the rocker arm. The rocker arm enables us to open the inlet and exhaust valve. So how it works, it gets its energy from the camshaft. The vertical motion of the cam lobe that is present in the shaft is what helps in opening the inlet and exhaust valve. So this camshaft is connected with the cam follower, further the push rod and the rocker arm. So when this vertical motion of camshaft is happening, then this rocker arm will get a preventing motion, which enables us to open the inlet and exhaust valve. And after which, because of the valve spring, it will automatically close after the motion. So this is how rocker arm is working. Now about camshaft. Camshaft is a device again used to provide power to the inlet and exhaust valve at correct timing. So it derives its power from the crankshaft either through a timing chain or a timing gear. Depends on the distance between them. So that is the purpose of camshaft. Then we have flywheel. So flywheel is the heavy mass object which is usually round, which we put at the end of the crankshaft. The basic use of this is to store the mechanical energy from the power stroke and supply it to all the other known power strokes, basically the intake, compression, and exhaust. So it also helps in reducing the vibration and any noise that is present. And it also helps us in resolving any unbalanced force. That is, as we know, piston is in different strokes, and suddenly when it gives powers to the crankshaft, there will be sudden jerk. See, so the sudden jerk of torque that is there, this flywheel will smoothly absorb it. So hence we will not feel the impact of torque that much. Next we have governor basically. So governor is a device which enables us to maintain a constant speed across varying loads. Right now we have centrifugal type and also electronic type. In centrifugal we have Hartnell governor and Potter governor. Mostly we use Hartnell governor. So the main construction involves two flywheels and a spindle down the middle with arms connected to it, and we have a sleeve which is also connected to the flybar. So if the and this governor is also connected through the crankshaft with bevel gears. So whatever speed the crankshaft is moving, this governor also will start moving. So if the speed is above a predetermined set value, this sleeve will move up. It has a mechanical linkage to the fuel valve. Basically, if the speed is too much, it will start cutting off some amount of fuel oil that is going inside, so that less amount of speed is happening. And if the speed is too low, which means the sleeve will start coming down, hence this mechanical linkage will try to open the fuel oil and allow more amount of oil to go through it. Hence, the speed will come back to the constant value. And next we have the electronic governor which we are using right now, because mechanical governor used to use in the olden time. Now we are using electronic governors which has sensors which senses the rotation of the crankshaft and actuates the fuel oil which is on the speed of the crankshaft. That is what we are using right now. Okay.
Okay. Moving to the next question. Tell me about thermodynamic laws.
Okay, thermodynamic law basically First is the Zeroth law of thermodynamics, which basically states that if a body A is in thermal equilibrium with body C and a body B is in thermal equilibrium with body C, then body A is in thermal equilibrium with body B. Basically, it is a system that works in thermometer. Next, we have first law of thermodynamics, which says that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but only be transferred from one form to another. Next, we have second law of thermodynamics, which has two statements basically, Kelvin-Planck and Clausius. Kelvin-Planck statement basically states that a heat engine working in a cycle, it is impossible for it to convert the entire heat energy into equivalent amount of work without any losses. What he means to tell is that it is impossible to convert it entirely into work. There will be some losses present in it uh, disrespect or regarding. So next we have the Clausius statement, which says that it is impossible to take heat from a low temperature area to a high temperature area without any additional work. Next, we have third law of thermodynamics, which basically states that the entropy in a system will never be zero, and also states that a system will never reach absolute zero temperature, which is the temperature where entropy is zero. Because even at this temperature, the atom ceases to flow or have any motion in itself. So that is all the laws of thermodynamics.
Okay, moving to the next question. What is NPSH?
Okay, NPSH full form is first of all net positive suction head. It is the pressure head that we keep at the inlet so as to avoid cavitation. We have two of them, that is NPSH available and NPSH required. This available should be always greater than the required. This required value is given to us by the manufacturer. So the calculation of NPSH mainly involves the vapor pressure, the frictional losses, and then we also have the absolute pressure in the sum. So after considering all of this calculation, we are giving an NPSH value, and when we are this NPSH value should always be greater than the vapor pressure. So this is the NPSH concept.
Okay. Next question. What is tappet clearance and butt clearance?
Okay, Tappet clearance is the distance between rocker arm and the valve stem when the piston is in compression, all the valves are closed, and the engine is in a cold state. So, okay. So this Tappet clearance is mainly given to accommodate for the heat expansion or heat fluctuation that is happening in the engine. Next, we have the butt clearance. Basically, what it means that it is the clearance that is given between the connecting faces of the piston ring. It is also given for expansion of heat only, so that it expands towards the side and not into the liner. Basically, if it goes inside the liner, it will try to restrict the flow of the piston and restrict the movement also. Okay.
Okay. Explain magnetic particle testing.
Okay. Magnetic particle testing is a NDT method, that is a non-destructive method where where we find the defects without actually destroying the specimen. So NDT, this magnetic particle testing we are using for ferromagnetic material. So the main principle involves first we have a yoke which we are using and we have a specimen. So we are first have to magnetize the specimen either using a permanent magnet or electromagnet like the CO, and we are supplying it entirely through the specimen, which will introduce some flux lines in the specimen. Next, we are introducing a ferromagnetic material which is a dry ferromagnet or a wet ferromagnet. So if there is any imperfections in the specimen, there will be flux line leakage, and this ferromagnetic material will get attracted to that. Now, because of that, we can actually identify where the defect is in this case of the ferromagnetic material.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Name some refrigerants used in marine and domestic refrigeration system.
Okay. Basically, marine right now I have noticed that we are using R134A, which is tetrafluoroethane. Now, coming to a refrigerant, what I would like to say is I have seen the label in my refrigerator. I have seen that it is using R600A. So I did some research regarding it. R134A is much more safer, that is A1 class, whereas R600 is much less safer, that is A3 class. Basically, R134A is used in a place where much higher safety is required because as I have done research, R600A has some flammable characteristics, some anesthetic characteristics, and also it is slightly irritative, which is very dangerous to use in ship. So that's why they are not recommending to use it in ship. In ship, we are using R134A. But R134A has a slightly higher global warming potential, whereas R600A has very low global warming potential. So these are two dominant refrigerants that we are using in marine and domestic refrigerators.
Okay. Uh, Coming to the next question. Uh, Working of marine exhaust gas turbocharger.
Okay, basically we are using a turbocharger so as to increase the power and efficiency without increasing the size of the engine. So the main construction involves a turbine which is connected to a shaft and further to a compressor. It is connected with the same shaft. So the procedure is like this. First of all, exhaust gas will come through the exhaust manifold. It will have some kinetic energy and it will start hitting the blades of the turbine. Because of which this turbine will start rotating. Now since the turbine is rotating, the same shaft is connected to the compressor also. So compressor will take the air from the engine room and compress it to a certain pressure. Now because there is an increase in pressure, there will be some increase in temperature also. We don't want to supply this high temperature air into the engine because first of all it will have very low density, and we don't want to supply high temperature air because there might be a chance of knocking also. So we are avoiding that. So either we can air cool it or water cool it. In ship, what we do is we use exhaust gas economizer, which will absorb heat from this exhaust gas and make from this gas so as to make sure that density increases. Now this highly dense and very high pressure air is submitted through the inlet pot where it should have sufficient scavenge pressure so that proper scavenging also happen, and because of high density proper combustion also happen. So we get high power, high efficiency. So the main concept behind is that we are using something that is of no use to us, that is the exhaust gas, and making it useful to us by increasing the power and efficiency. But there are some disadvantages to turbocharger also. Basically, at starting of the engine, there will be very low exhaust pressure and very low kinetic energy. At that point of time, we will not be able to produce enough scavenge pressure. So you have to run it for some time, make sure that exhaust pressure is reaching a certain determined value, so that proper scavenging can happen and proper combustion also happen. That is the concept of marine turbocharger.
Okay. Then after components of centrifugal pump.
I have already told, right?
Okay. Then after refrigerant used on board,
That is
that also
R134A
that
tetrafluoride.
yes. Then after governor and flywheel difference.
Basically, governor and flywheel are polar opposite to each other. Flywheel we are using to make sure that the mechanical energy is stored and to supply it on all the other known power strokes so that the crankshaft keeps on spinning and all the other strokes, that is intake, compression, and exhaust, keeps on happening. Whereas the governor is used to make sure that the crankshaft have constant speed under varying loads so that the speed remains constant and does not change. That is the main difference between governor and flywheel.
Okay. Tell me about what is endothermic and exothermic reaction.
So endothermic reaction is a reaction in which a chemical reaction happens while absorbing the heat, and then the chemical reaction happens. Basically, example I can give is an ice cube. It takes the amount of heat from the environment and starts to melt. Next, we have exothermic reaction. Basically, what happens is after the chemical reaction is done, it will give off some heat. So the main example I can give is the basic combustion procedure, where air is there, fuel is there, because of which a combustion happens and heat is produced.
Okay. Uh, then after gear pump working.
Okay, the principle on which gear pump is working is in positive displacement pump, where fluid will be trapped and positively displaced. Basically, there will be no recirculating of the fluid; it will be always positively displaced. So the main working is that there will be two meshing of the gears. The suction pressure and the discharge pressure will be created because of meshing of the gears. On the suction line, as we know, the gear is coming out of the mesh, because of which there will be an increase in volume. If there is an increase in volume, there will be a decrease in pressure. So since there is a decrease in pressure, there will be a negative pressure region created. Hence, fluid will come from high pressure region to lower pressure region, and suction pressure is created. Further, what happens is this gear will trap the fluid, take it along the clearance of the pump and to the discharge side. In the discharge side, the gear will come into the mesh, which means there will be decrease in the volume. Hence, there will be an increase in pressure. Hence, we'll get the discharge pressure at the discharge side of the gear pump. Also, we are further using a relief valve so as to maintain safe pressure inside the pump.
Okay. Moving to the next question. Tell me about working of camshaft.
Okay, working of camshaft. Basically, camshaft is a shaft which has cam below present on it. It is used to so as to maintain a proper timing of the opening of inlet and exhaust valve. So, this entire motion of the piston can be actually seen by the crankshaft motion itself. So, we are deriving power from camshaft and supplying it to camshaft so that we can synchronize the piston. Piston is synchronized with the crankshaft. Crankshaft will be synchronized with camshaft. Hence, proper timing is achieved like that. The crankshaft is rotating, and because of timing chain or timing gear, we can translate this motion onto the camshaft, which has camber profile in it. Further, with the help of cam follower, push rod, and rocker arm, we can open the inlet and exhaust valve. That is the working of camshaft.
Okay. Moving to the last question. Can you tell about some workshop tools used in ship?
Okay, the main workshop tools. First of all, we have the holding tools like bench wise, then the hand wise itself. Then we have marking tools like scribbler, dot punch, center punch. Then we have screwdrivers, which is Philip head, flathead, and hex. Then we have pliers, we have ratchet strip, we have tap and dive, we have measurement devices like steel ruler, vernier caliper, vernier height gauge, micrometer. Then we have various cutting devices like hacksaws, filers. In filers, we have round filers, square, we have a triangular one, we have half round one. These all types are there. Then we have power tools like grinding machine, drilling machine, lathe. So these are some of the basic workshop tools that we use on ship.
Okay. Okay, Rakshit. This was really very good session with you, and I hope our upcoming aspirants will be getting some help with this session.
So basically, guys,
So
whatever answer I am giving is on basis of me. So basically,
yes,
you have to create your own answer which you are satisfied with. So if
yes.
you go with my answer, basically I have created a large array of answers, and when I'm saying I'm losing around 20 to 30% of my answers basically because I'm forgetting. So if you copy mine, even a little bit of my answer you will also forget. So it will get decreased. So it is much more recommended that you make your own answer, which you are comfortable with, which is according to your memory. So then you don't have to really mug up anything. Because if you start to mug up and any cross questions come in the interview, you'll be absolutely not able to answer it. So mugging up concept is not will not work in your interview. So that's it.
Okay, then shall we wind up our session?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.